Professor James Wolffsohn recently chatted with me about launching the Dry Eye Association, which happened in 2023. But he recognised a problem.
We realised that we were giving lots of information to our dry eye patients without really following up on that. So we developed an app. That app allows them to check their symptoms, it allows them to check their risk factors. More importantly, it allows them to put in the medication that they're using. So when they're talking to you, they can see exactly what they're using. And it will also do things like check their compliance. And every time they use it, then it builds up that compliance data. Quite often patients will report to you, oh, we know actually I had a drop and it was working really well for me, but that was a while ago and I can't remember the name of it. This will really help you to track back and go, yeah, absolutely, your symptoms were much better at that stage. And this is the one that was in the app that you were using, or this combination that seemed to work well for you. Let's try that again. And they can also do things like find a practitioner near them if they're not already aligned with one. It's just called MyDryEye, all one word. It's available on the iOS platform, but also on Android. We do have posters from the Dry Eye Association. It then has the QR codes for the two versions of the app. You go to the Dry Eye Association website, then actually the poster is there as well, so you can download it and put it up. So the thought process behind the app was sort of twofold. One, to really help our patients, but it also usefully, as researchers, allows us to collect anonymized data where we get the permission of the patient. So it will help us to collect that real world data that you don't get in clinical trials.
At the same time, research has suggested that there's a way you can help your dry eye symptoms at home by teaching yourself to blink more completely. So the Dry Eye Association decided to integrate this protocol into their app.
We did some research and looked at what the optimal was, and we found the optimal was 15 repeats of close eye, squeeze, open eye cycles 3 times a day. Essentially, we're trying to get the muscle memory back to remind them to blink and blink fully. Because when we're staring at digital screens, we tend to stop blinking. And when we do blink, it's that sort of partial blink that comes part of the way down and then goes up again. The app essentially takes them through a sequence, and that's an open eye, a closed eye, and then a squeeze step, and then back to open, close, squeeze. So that would be 2 cycles. And we're asking them to do that 15 times. It takes less than a minute, even with 2 seconds in between each of those steps, 3 times a day. And that seemed to be the optimum. We tried it with the same number of cycles, but spread over twice a day. That wasn't as effective. We also looked at what happens if you did 20 repeats, 25 repeats, 5 repeats. And we found that 15 seemed to be the sweet spot for getting the maximum benefit. We don't fully know the mechanism of action, but we know that the more time you're on digital screens, the more you don't blink and you'll partially blink. So we think that that you're essentially training your muscles to not blink because you want to take in all of this visual information. And of course, then the counter to that is training people to get back into that blink cycle, that actually when you're staring at a screen, it is okay to blink, and not just to blink to have that full blink. To make sure that you're refreshing that tear film. And of course, that blink action is not just about spreading the tears. Also, it's about squeezing those glands that gets the oils onto the surface. So it's helping keeping your glands healthy, because if they get blocked, then we know that there's likely to be a build-up of pressure and damage that then truncates those glands that we look at in myelography. So we really do want people on that cycle of keeping their eyes healthy. It is about maintaining that natural, healthy blink mechanism that's developed over hundreds of thousands of years and unfortunately is being disrupted by some technological changes in a relatively short period of time. It's certainly one of a number of etiological drivers for dry eye. We've just done TFOS-Choose3 and we identified 9 main etiological drivers, and blink completeness and closure, eyelid closure, is one of those drivers. So certainly if we spot that in an individual, that's a good exercise for them to do because it addresses one of those concerns, but it's reasonably unlikely that's going to be the only concern of their dry eye. Now, that might be different in something like digital eye strain. Obviously, that's a bit more temporary in terms of development of symptoms or exacerbation of symptoms when they're doing a digital task. Certainly for those patients, it might actually be the solution for them to maintain that healthy tear film. but arguably picking that up early is going to benefit them, because once they've got ocular surface staining and other manifestations of digital eye strain and it turns into full-blown dry eye disease, then there's probably a lot more to address that.